But when technology is advancing, but we constantly are working double time to catch up to it because we know if we want to survive, we need to either outsmart it or, be on par with it. We're at war with technology when really it could be made to improve our lives. Hi everybody, this is Alex and welcome to the Guiding Creatives podcast. This is the creative community where multi-passionate people can learn how to take advantage of the gig economy to get whatever it is you may need. You may want opportunity, time, freedom, energy, vacations, whatever it is you want from your creative pursuits. I'm here to help you get it. And today we're going to talk about I don't want to talk about it, to be honest, because part of me does avoid thinking about it, but it is a global issue in the freelancing world and the creative world right now, and that's AI. A lot of people are terrified of AI, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about some cons and pros. So why I say cons and pros instead of pros and cons, I'm going to talk about fears that I'm seeing, problems I'm seeing, and kind of the more positive or hopeful side to that, because it's not going to help to dwell on the negative. It's not helping anybody who's creative to just dwell on how this is terrifying and it's risking our projects and careers, even though that's debatable. And then I'm going to end with telling you my honest feelings about AI. I'm not going to be able to cover all the issues and fears in one episode. So if you have a fear or issue that you want me to talk about or dive into, let me know in the comments. And if you're listening to the podcast version, just head over to YouTube or my Instagram. Let me know what it is. I'll make a part 2 because it can definitely be talked about. And the best thing we can do is just talk about it. One issue that I'm seeing people complain about, and this is more geared towards social media or growing your brand or awareness, is that there's a little bit more competition and it's harder to grow. And we're already looking at saturation in a lot of areas. But just because something is saturated, which it has been before AI, doesn't mean you can't succeed. People are succeeding every day. People are getting bigger audiences every day, and they will continue to forever. That might be a big statement to make, but you know what I mean. But what I want to point out here is this con, this fear, this problem is going to weed out inauthentic people. The pro here is that although we've been told for so long that we need to fit into a niche or serve a certain target audience or capitalize on trends, I think we're going to see a very big shift in authenticity. We are going to see a shift in that unique identifier. We are going to see a shift in people appreciating that one unique part that you bring to the table. Because if something is so saturated that you see it over and over again, it's not going to work. I'm seeing it right now on cash cow channels on YouTube. People are trying to make the same type of cash cow channels that have existed for years. It's overdone. It's the same thing. There's no real person behind it. We all know what a cash cow channel is now. We all know what content farming channels are now. Unless you're covering a topic that is sought after and is unique, you're probably not going to grow. And that may be a con to some people, but what that's going to do is it's going to push you to actually really be creative and find out how you can spin this, how you can be successful, how you can give your unique factor to it. Or it's going to weed out the people who are just trying to get rich quick when that doesn't exist. Before AI even started becoming this big hot topic, we were already seeing people craving authenticity and pushing away this like repetitive trends. The trend cycles got tiring. The TikTok over and over and over again, we got tired of it. And we're seeing that now. So although you may feel that like saturation or access to your niche is going to be competitive or anything like that, that's not what you should be afraid of. What you should be afraid of is if you are not bringing anything to the table, if you are not making an active effort to be creative, that's when you're like, what do I do? And the answer is just be creative, be unique, figure out how you can get in there, whether it be your personality or a finishing touch you put on something or the delivery in which you deliver it. You need a unique identifier. One of the biggest fears and issues that I'm seeing, especially in the freelance community, but as well as the creative community, distrust or lack of trust because of AI. This is a big thing because freelancers are being questioned left and right if they're using AI, and it's being used negatively against them if they are using AI, which I also think is ridiculous to an extent because AI tools have existed forever. Just because you have access to a tool doesn't mean you know how to use it, and we'll talk about that later. But I'm seeing a lot of people either sincerely being like, oh, did I just pay for a personalized service and you just use AI? But some people are also saying that to manipulate you and try to get free work. So you do have to tread lightly there. So there's distrust on the freelancing side. So you do need to protect yourself, make it clear if you use tools, if you don't use tools, have some kind of evidence that everything you did was your own, whether that has to be screen recording your work. I know it is a painful extra step, but until we figure out, because listen, AI detectors are garbage. So unless you can figure out how to protect yourself in a better way, that's what I would be doing. And it sucks, but you have to have some kind of track record and proof and paper trail, because people will question you, whether it's sincere or they're trying to get something from you. And then the other distrust is just any content you're putting out there. It's like, did you actually do your research? Did you actually experience this? Did you actually learn this? Or are you just cash cowing me right now? People don't want to do the cash cow. They don't. And this is why I try to remind myself, people want real people. So why are you so afraid to put yourself out there? People are looking for you. So what you need to do is you really need to build trust with your audience, whether that be putting a face to the brand or the artist, or putting a face to your work, talk about your work, show the behind the scenes. Do something that builds community, because that is what you need to overcome this. If you have a lot of great reviews as a freelancer, if you have a lot of great proven work, you have good referral marketing, you're respected, this is going to be your community and your proof when people distrust you. If you're a creator and you've built a sincere community because you reply to people, you interact with people, you share with people, people know that there's a personality behind what's happening and not just money, that's when you're going to get that community, and that's when you're going to build trust. Now, one of the bigger cons, and I'm going to group these two together, but fears and cons right now is less clients and it's going to eliminate services. A lot of people are nervous about losing services they offer. I'm seeing a lot of this in the writing space right now. It's trying to creep in the graphic design, but if you've used any of those tools, we're not at that point yet. But people are nervous, and rightfully so. However, I think one thing to remember is Grammarly has been around and people still order proofreading. Grammarly has been here. If you've used Grammarly, it's not perfect. Sometimes it corrects stuff and I'm like, you're just not understanding me. Don't panic too much about that, but you do have to do something to overcome it, because you are going to see less clients, regardless if they think AI is just as good as you or not. If it saves them money, they're going to try it. Can't fault them for that. That's how it works. They're going to try it. And these clients are either going to realize that, hey, this needs a human touch, or they're going to waste time and energy and money using it just to realize they're not going to get the same results. And then maybe they come back, maybe they don't. Maybe one day it will eliminate proofreading. I don't live in fear of that, because I don't think AI can really catch that personalized tone and attitude and charisma. I don't think it's getting that. For me, I would still get it actually proofread. However, some people won't, right? I think this is where you can start, one, expanding your services. So I know fact-checking AI work or fact-checking AI things is a really big thing right now. You can capitalize on that. This will push you to look at more opportunities, and this will push you to expand your services. And I know not everybody wants to do that. I know that maybe you're comfortable, but a reality is when you have a business of any kind, you have to be able to adapt and evolve. That is what the life cycle is. Is this a point where you exit, or is this a point where you grow? Because the world around you is going to change. I know we want things to stay the same, but to resist change is just going to cause you pain in the end. You either need to work with it or say, okay, I'm going to go on a different path. But more importantly, you're going to get less clients, but I think it's because you're going to get more serious clients. I do a lot of work where people are just aimlessly looking for help. They have these big expectations without actually understanding what needs to go in. They are a pain to work with because they're not taking anything seriously. They're just throwing money and saying, make this happen, which that's not how anything works. Even when you do a service for someone, it's still a collaboration. There's still a life cycle to the success of it. And if people are convinced that AI can replace your job, wouldn't you rather work with the people who know that you are so valuable and you bring something to the table that AI doesn't? Doesn't that sound like a better client? So instead of being scared of the clients that AI pushes away, it's weeding out those clients who may not even take your skill seriously. And I think it's something that a lot of us are struggling with, because if you are not in the creative sphere, you don't have as much admiration or understanding of what goes on. When you are outside, you think, oh, this is a tool that does their job, I'll just use this. And after some time, they're going to realize it doesn't. But, I think there will be a lag, and then things will come back. And that brings me into what I want to talk about, because I want to talk about some of my opinions on this. So I've talked about this a little bit about being authentic, but I think it rings true in 2023. Despite AI, you have to bring something to the table. This means when you deliver, just delivering something that is okay is not going to be enough, because AI can deliver something that's okay. If somebody has to get your delivery and then go get someone else to fine tune it, then they might as well just go get AI and skip you and go to the person to fine tune it. So you see how you need to refine your craft, because you need to make sure you're bringing something to the table. Because when you bring something to the table that AI can't, you don't worry about AI. I'm seeing a lot of freelancers get accused of using AI, and people saying that I shouldn't have paid for this. Figure out a way to protect yourself. I'm a little bit disappointed in how platforms have been protecting their freelancers. So do what you need to do to protect yourself. I will probably do a video on ways you can, but for now, just track your effort, track your work. Make sure you have proof that you did it on your own, or just avoid clients that are like that if you can. If you get those red flags, try not to work with them. A point I want to make is you already use AI. It's not something that's so new that you should be freaking out. Is it advancing at an alarming rate? Maybe. But for me, I feel like we had this same freak out and ooh moment when it came to crypto and NFTs, and then that just fell so flat. And I know AI is a little bit different, but I think AI is going to evolve, but I also think it's just pushing us to evolve as creatives. And it's going to, like I said, highlight people who are unique and are really putting something out there that has a person behind it, as opposed to people who are just manipulating technology to make money. I do think it's going to weed out some people. But if you are listening to this, it's probably not going to be you, okay? If you are someone who's working on being creative, you're passionate, you're really trying to have a creative career because you love it, it's not going to be something that weeds you out. I think that automation is just going to take away how easy it is to grow, which I think we're already seeing. It was so easy to grow on social media and so easy to do certain things. It got really saturated. And now I think this is actually going to cut it back, which can be a pro for some and a con for others. Learn to incorporate AI, but don't depend on it. It's like any new technology. It exists there to help you. Learn how to let it help you. But if you are having AI do all your work for you, you're dependent on it, and I don't think that's right, because for one, chances are it's not going to be perfect and it's not going to deliver up to your standards. So you shouldn't just fully depend on it. If it can help you with some tasks, if it can help you get to the next stage, maybe you just need fine tuning on one thing, you need help with something, use it. Learn to incorporate it. This will really help. When you start trying to incorporate AI, you learn pretty quickly that the AI tools are very mediocre. They are not perfect, and a lot of the times what they put out is you can so tell that it's computer generated. It's just missing that human aspect. I don't think AI is going to be able to capture that, to be honest. Maybe one day, I don't know, but I don't think so. So when you start working with these tools, you realize that one, if you don't understand how to use those tools correctly, they're not going to help. You can use ChatGPT, but if you don't put in the right prompts, you're not getting what you want. And then when you get your results, if you don't fact check them, you're also in the hole. So just because it's there doesn't mean everybody knows how to use it. And two, if everybody's using the same thing and it only has so much it can do, everything is going to sound and look the same. I don't think people should worry about that. AI tools, like I said, once you start incorporating them, you're going to start to understand that, okay, this is not going to wipe me out. This does not measure up to me, and you're allowed to be confident about that. But my final talking point I want to make is I am a little bit disappointed, because when we introduce AI, when we introduce new technology, things like this, it should benefit people. It should benefit everybody, because the point of advancing as a species is quality of life. But we all know that a lot of reasons that people are advancing technology is actually for profit and for innovation, to say they could innovate something. which is disappointing. And this is a very big, deep topic that we can get into. But my point being, we would all be a little bit less scared and a little bit more accepting of AI and its emergence if we knew that it was going to trickle down, that these benefits, this automation, this ease was going to trickle down into our lives. If we could have a stable income, if we could afford services, if things were more accessible and easy for us to use and easy for us to survive because of AI, we would be less scared of it. But when technology is advancing, but we constantly are working double time to catch up to it because we know if we want to survive, we need to either outsmart it or, be on par with it. We're at war with technology when really it could be made to improve our lives. So that's a bigger topic to think about, but we can do a part 2. We can break down a little bit more AI topics, but I just want to bring this up today because I am not scared of it. I'm not worried about it. And maybe I will be in like a year, I don't know, but I think right now it's just a buzzword. It's advancing, cool. It's growing, cool. I don't think it can replace me or you. I know some jobs get replaced by technology all the time, but I think when it comes to creativity, there's definitely a big boundary for that. There's definitely this line that technology can't cross. And listen, maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't think so. So stay creative and get off the internet sometimes. Take a break. Take a break from the AI news. Bye.